Okay, so Cryptosporidium is commonly referred to as crypto. It's a worldwide endemic and is found in water. So the type of water you're going to find it in like outdoors and honestly even in wells, that like shallow wells. So it's going to be rivers, lakes, and pools. It can be found in soil. Very commonly found in feces on surfaces, like contaminated surfaces. Just say like people not using proper hand hygiene. A little interesting note is that the first cases were found in 1976 with patients who had severe watery diarrhea. So Cryptosporidium has 10 different species. C. parvum is going to be the most common amongst them. It accounts for 90% of cases, and it's very, very common in cattle. Unfortunately, this parasite is not captured very well in pool filters, and that's why, so if you swallow pool water, you could potentially get this infection. This infection is zoonotic and arthropodic. It can be transferred between human to human, human to animal, animal to human, or animal to animal. So it's a unicellular parasite. It's very, very small. So the oocytes, which is going to be like the eggs, kind of, have 4 sporocytes in them, and these enter through the mouth. They make their way into the small intestines and out through the feces. That's going to be the mode of transmission. Portal of entry is going to be the mouth. It can infect the lungs, but it's not as common as the infection in the GI tract. So with the GI tract, you're going to see a lot of watery diarrhea. People who are immune compromised and who have like AIDS or HIV, this could end up potentially life-threatening for them, whereas people with more healthy immune systems are just going to have diarrhea for a short time. So the direct transmission is going to be the fecal-oral route, and indirect is going to be like swallowing water. So these oocysts, they make their way into the intestines. They get there because they have a very, very hardy outer shell. And when they get there, that's where they hatch and sexual and asexual reproduction starts. They actually produce 2 types of oocysts. There's a thick wall, and the thick walls oocysts usually are the ones that make their way out through the feces and into the portal of entry of another host. And so that's what I found out from the CDC. Let's see, some people can be asymptomatic actually, but can still spread the disease. People who are at a high risk for catching this infection, sorry, I keep calling it disease, I mean infection, are people who work with animals, anyone who goes like camping and drinks unfiltered or untreated water, international travelers, things like that. Some of the symptoms are going to be diarrhea, dehydration, nausea, vomiting. We can prevent this infection by washing our hands. That's number 1. Avoiding avoiding swallowing lake, pool, and river water. You're going to want to rinse vegetables with clean water. That's important because the oocyst can live on the vegetables, but also in the water. So if you're cleaning your vegetables with contaminated water, you're going to be contaminating your vegetables as well, or any food for that matter. So laboratory testing is needed for diagnosis. You're going to want to boil water before drinking, and the CDC has guidelines for that. One thing that I found really interesting was that for laboratory testing, they recommend that you actually get a biopsy of your intestines, which was really interesting to me. I thought that a stool sample would have been enough, but they said that actually it wasn't. And so remember to wash your hands because this infection is actually very, very common. I had no idea, and so I learned a lot when I was researching this topic. Thanks for listening.